All right, it's time for ZPAP in competition part 2. So let's go. So I just recently shot another rifle match with my Zastava ZPAP. Again, primarily against AR-15s and 9mm carbines, and I did pretty well. Now, for this video, I want to highlight a few stages, a few good stages, and then one horrible stage, and the techniques, at least, that worked for me in the good stages. So let's go. So what I want to point out is, when is it best to shoot and move as opposed to just running to a certain point and shooting as many targets as you can? Now, World Championship shooter Todd Jarrett, he called this being sneaky fast about 10 years ago in a video. He likes to shoot from point to point, meaning finding the fewest amount of points where you can see the most amount of targets within a stage, as opposed to, walking and shooting, moving the entire stage. Dynamic movement from point to point where you can engage the most targets that are visible can be at times a lot faster, again, than just moving and shooting. So how do you determine that? Well, for me, it goes by target distance. If you check out this clip from my previous video, shooting a ZPAP in a match, here in this one stage, I'm shooting and moving at these targets as I go into the stage, primarily because I can do it at a normal walking pace just about, because for me, the targets are 10 yards or under. And that is what I use as a gauge, and that's just for me. If you're a lot better shooter, then perhaps, the distance could be a lot farther, say 15 yards, before it really starts slowing you down. But if it slows me down below my normal walking pace, then typically I like to run to a point where I can shoot the most and keep up those super fast splits, as opposed to slow splits and slow moving and shooting. This is exactly what I do in the first two videos. I don't do any shooting and moving. You're going to see me dynamic movement to a point where I can see as many targets as possible and then shoot the fastest splits that I can while I'm static. And I make up for the lack of shooting and moving with dynamic movement over to the next point, as you'll see in this first clip. So let's go. All right, this stage starts off with shooting some targets that are out of frame and some steel shots and some paper targets about 25 yards. Notice I run to one point, and now I'm going to shoot as fast as possible at these targets, and I am going to start backing up to my next point. Do a reload on the move, and it's not too bad because I'm done reloading by the time I get there. And again, shoot to one point. I could walk around this corner and shoot and move at the same time, but I got a lot faster splits. All right, so in the second video, you're going to see basically the same thing. I'm going to dynamically move to a shooting point. The only time you'll see me shooting and moving is if I have to, shoot far to near, and I'll start retreating to my next point of fire. So let's check it out in this video. All right, so again, I'm shooting some targets off frame, 2 steel plates. Dynamically move to a shooting point. Now I am going to retreat and shoot them as I see them. I'm trying to get to a next point. I will shoot near to far or inner to outside. Reload, done before I get to my next point. Dynamic movement. And not too bad. So hopefully those provided a good enough example to see what I'm talking about. Again, I like to balance my shooting and moving based on the distance to the targets. If it's under 10 yards, I'll shoot and move if it doesn't slow down my pace. If not, I will shoot point to point. I will find those points on the ground that allow me to see the most targets as possible, shooting the fastest splits that I can, and then dynamically move to the next point. Hence, most of the drills I've shown so far in my other videos, they highlight dynamic movement. And that's just, not for competition only. In combat, the only time I'm walking and shooting is when I'm in a stack doing room entry, walking through a doorway, or, I'm moving with a stack down the hall. Outside in an urban area, out in the woods, it should be dynamic movement. Every time I see a movie or a training video where guys are stacked up tight outside of a building and walking in a line to a building in a tight stack, it makes me cringe, because you're just lining yourself up for, fire from the enemy. It should be dynamic movement everywhere outside of structures. And if you're by yourself, I'll employ dynamic movement as much as I can. I'm not just going to walk at a steady place and engage targets. I'm going to shoot and dynamically move from cover to cover as best I can. Okay, in this next clip, I'm going to show you why I'm not a world championship shooter. I'm going to have a super dismal start on this stage. There's 6 plates at about 50 yards, and I'm going to take a total of 17 shots at them to knock them all down. I just could not get a good point of aim on these plates for some reason. And then it leads to me having a flat-footed reload, meaning I'm not reloading on the move at the next target array, which cost me another 3 seconds doing an AK reload. The good part of the video that I want you to pay attention to as I try and make up for it, you'll see me double my normal split time when I engage targets after that reload, trying to make up for the time lost. And I do get good hits, thankfully, but a very dismal start, but I do try and recover. So make fun of the beginning and then check out the second half of the video, how I try and recover and not make it a complete disastrous stage. Let's check it out.
Oh, reloaded.
Oh, what a bad stage! Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You found it fun and educational. I plan on shooting a lot more rifle matches with my Zastava ZPAP. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I just got an Arsenal 107R that I'm in the process of rigging up. I've got a match grade, ALG trigger in it. I got the same optic, but I don't have a comp on it or a K&S piston in it yet. That 74 brake that comes on AKs, Arsenals, is pretty dismal. It basically doesn't work like a brake at all. But stay tuned for more how-to shooting videos in the future. I got plenty more drills to come. Please like, follow, check me out on Facebook and Instagram. I'll provide links at the end. Again, I'm Jeff Gerwich. Thanks for watching.
Oh, woo, they got it.